What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the premiere episode of Hanging Out with Grandpa Starscream. I'm Grandpa Starscream, aka Tony from Comiverse. Welcome you to this very special Friday live show because I'm working tomorrow, so can't do it into the Comiverse. And we're going to talk about, since it's the first weekend of October, we're going to talk about some of our favorite horror movie soundtracks and scores, and then we're going to show off some spooky comics too. I got my buddy sitting backstage. How you doing, Will?
Hey everybody. I'm good. I'm pretty good. Just chilling out. October is my birthday month, so Halloween's cool too.
October's my youngest daughter's birthday month as well. I'm going to highlight. Well, Matt will join us hopefully later on. If you want to join us and hang out, the link is pinned at the top of the screen. And if you're watching this on the replay, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. Let's get some business out of the way first. I don't have any pictures. I don't think I have. I think I got one picture. Okay, we have 8 days left to go to www.cbcawards.org to vote for the finalists of the CBC Awards. It ends midnight next Saturday.
Yep.
We got that coming up in a couple weeks. We've got Comics Curing Cancer, the big auctions that's going to take place on the weekend of October 24th through the 26th on various YouTube channels. They're going to be doing auctions and stuff, and all the money's going to the American Cancer Society. I think there may still be time to donate. If you want to, hit up Rob Fatstacks and Legion of Comics or DJ Links on Instagram, and they'll send you information if you want to donate comics or art or whatever to that. And like I said, proceeds are going to the American Cancer Society. I believe their goal is $55,000 this year. So
Yep.
I know in the last 2 years combined, they've raised over $100,000. So it's pretty awesome. And then just thinking, what else is there? What else we got going on? I believe that's it that I can think of offhand.
Yep.
And it's spooky season. Like I said, we're going to talk about our favorite Halloween themed horror movie soundtracks and scores. And I distinguish the difference between a soundtrack and a score. A score is the music that you hear to set the mood during the movie. That usually an instrumental piece, like for John Carpenter from Halloween or Friday 13th or so on. And then you got your soundtracks. They usually have like bands on them. I know heavy metal bands from the 80s. There's quite a few soundtracks like Maximum Overdrive, Trick or Treat, the Lost Boys, just to name a few.
Yep.
But so what you want to do first, Vols? You want to show off some comics, or you want to?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I have a big stack of comics I can run through.
I'm going to put you through, in, as Chris would say, the position of power.
Yep.
And for those of you who noticed, last Saturday I tried to use Restream, and it didn't. I didn't like it, so I went back to StreamYard. It only took one time for me to say screw it and go back to StreamYard.
Yeah, I don't like Restream. We got Batman: The Long Halloween from Batman Day. I think this was last year. Yeah, it is last year because I couldn't go to Batman Day this year. I was working. Really cool red cover. Batman Dark City #2 of 3.
It's a good story, brother. It is a really good story.
#3 of 3. Batman with Robin, the Teen Wonder, Wail of the Ghost Bride.
Ooh, that's cool. Looks like that's a classic too.
Yeah. Batman 464. It looks horror-ish. It's like Man-Bat versus Batman, or Man-Bat's fighting something.
That's cool.
Detective Comics 985.
That's badass.
These will all be on a video, and much more I'll release on Halloween of Halloween-themed comics. You know I love Barbara Gordon. This is my favorite Barbara Gordon cover, DC versus Vampires #8.
I love that cover. That is an awesome cover. Is that Art Germ?
Zerdy.
I'm just guessing. Zerdy? Okay. For some reason I thought it was Art Germ.
Vampirella, Will Jack.
Hey, you gotta love Vampirella, man.
Vampirella. I want to say this is Adam Hughes.
That's nice.
I just got this one in. We interviewed her on Paul and the 619 last week. Vampirella, this is Sakisha Ray. She is
Oh,
awesome. So it's kind of cool. I don't know who did this one, but Vampirella, it's a wraparound.
hmm.
This is Peach Momoka Vampirella from Dynamite.
That's pretty cool.
Action Comics Weekly, number 631.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
Adele 12th Center, we got Ghosts.
Oh, cool.
And lastly, we got Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer from Opus.
I'm a big fan of Frank Frazetta. His artwork. He
Frazetta.
made a lot of amazing fantasy art pieces when he was alive. There's a lot of trading cards for him. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, that's all the books I had. You can go.
Let's see those Transformers comics. Not tonight, E. We're mostly
What's
hanging
up,
with
E-Man?
the we're mostly hanging with the spooky stuff tonight. Even though it is called Hanging with Grandpa Starscream, but
we
all
will
right.
show Transformers some other time, I guarantee it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, hold on. Let's make him happy. Here we go. Once more. I haven't opened it yet. I got the Devastator set.
Are you going to open it once you move or no?
That's a. Oh yeah, it's coming out of the box sooner or later. It's coming out the box. It's got to come out the box. They can't breathe in the box. Do Transformers breathe? And you know what? Since I don't have an intro, and this is a hanging out with Grandpa Starscream, I might need to get a hold of E and have him make me a special Transformers themed intro for hanging out with Grandpa Starscream. I mean, hell, you know.
I think I bet he would.
Oh, I know he would. I know he's got a lot of stuff to do too. Okay, I got a big stack. The first 7 books is just a last minute thing. I know Matt from Heroes for Hire Comic Club and Mark from Legion of Comics is about to do a series where they do a deep dive into these comics. And I was getting the covers as I can, but I finally got every issue, so I'm fixing to start reading them up to date. So we got Mark Spears Monsters #1. I believe this is a 5th printing.
Nice.
Then we got issue 2. I won this off. I don't know what printing it is, but I won this from Scotty, one of Scotty Vaughn's giveaways.
Yep.
I just featured this on Instagram for Durs's 31 Days of Halloween. Today was witch covers, and I was going to do the pretty witch cover, but he did it, so I did the other. Because when you think of Halloween, this is the type of witches you think of.
Yep.
I believe this was a 2nd print or something like that. That's issue 3. And issue 4, this was the one that Durs showed. This is nice. It's a nice cover, though. I mean,
I do need to get that one eventually.
But I got lucky and found it my LCS last time I went in there. Issue 5, I don't know who this is supposed to be, but still looks cool.
No idea. But yeah.
Issue 6, I know Will knows who this is.
Get Vampirella.
Yep, I believe the same time this come out, they did like a Vampirella cover. Mark Spears did a Vampirella cover that had all the monsters on it. So I mean, it was like a swap. And then we got issue 7 with the Headless Horseman.
Yep.
All right, so the next stack, and I say stack of books I'm going to show, just eclipses my love of one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm talking about Fright Night from 1985.
Yep.
All but the last few are from Now Comics. Hold on a second. Oh, sorry, I had to burp. These are the Now Comics run from the 80. I think it started in '88. Matter of fact, the first of this month was the 37th anniversary of the first issue. So we have Fright Night #1.
Nice.
This is the very first Fright Night comic ever made. The first 2 issues are adaptations of the movie. So I guess you could say that this technically is the first comic book appearances of Billy, Jerry Dandridge, Charlie Brewster, Peter Vincent, Evil Ed, and Amy in comics. Then we got episode 2 or issue 2. And what I loved about the Fright Night comics, like I said, the first 2 issues were adaptations of the first movie. Then after that, they went and started fighting other monsters like zombies, witches, werewolves, stuff like that. So we got issue 3. Pretty cool. And I can't remember who did the covers for these. We got issue 4. I love this cover. This is issue 5. This is a boy and his spiders.
Yep.
It's a pretty interesting story. And most of these, for the most part, except for a few issues, are self-contained. Okay, we got issue 6. It's the first appearance of the Legion of the Endless Night, which is a group of vampires that are trying to get revenge on Peter and Charlie for killing Jerry and Regine Dandridge, because you find out that they were charter members of the Legion, and they trick them to come down to some appearance in Louisiana, and then they spend this issue and the rest of the next issue running through the swamps of Louisiana being chased by a werewolf. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, this is the part 2 of that, which was pretty cool.
Yep.
And starting with issue number 8, it started going more towards having stories to tie into the new one, and it had to happen sooner or later. So issue 8 saw the return of Evil Ed. That's a nice photo cover. I can't Stephen Jeffries, I think is his name. They did the cover for this one. And yeah, Ed comes back. He's got his own little female vampire entourage. There's another one. Issue 9. I'm going to try to go through these because, like I said, there's a bunch of them. Issue 10 with a nice looking. I don't know if that's a ghost or a witch, but it's pretty cool. It took me a long time to get all these books because trying to get Fright Night Now comics is like pulling teeth. Either find them through a flea market or whatever. If you look on eBay, they like to charge a lot for these. It's issue 11.
Yep.
We got Evil Ed versus Aliens. Issue 12, where they're dealing with a Minotaur. Like I said, they deal with all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm just going to go through these issue 13.
Yep.
And here's this issue 14. They're dealing with a character that is supposed to be Dracula, but they kind of, I forgot what they call him, but they kind of make an homage to Christopher Lee in this one, which is pretty cool. And this is part 2 of that. But like I said, some of these are some pretty cool covers.
Mm-hmm.
Issue 16. And yeah, Charlie gets a new girlfriend that I can't remember her name offhand. And her dad is like the leader of the Legion of the Endless Night. She says her dad is dead. This is issue 17, but you come to find out that he's the leader of this vampire coven. Issue 18. Let's see. Thinking about my spooky comics, and I bought a James Tynion, the fourth Dracula book, with some variant artists to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, there was only 22 issues of the Now Comics run. To me, I think this is the best cover of the whole lot, and I don't know who did the cover, but to me, that's one of the best covers of the whole lot.
What is it called? Oh, look.
It's Fright Night issue 19. I mean, it might say it if I bring it up on my CLZ app.
Mm-hmm. Cover. Oh my gosh. Come on.
No, it doesn't say who did the cover. But yeah, that to me, this is the best cover they did. Yeah, probably. You could be right. Very Lost Boyish. Could be Keith or Sutherland on that cover. Yeah, you're right, E-Man. We got issue 20 with
Uh,
some zombies.
Eric Brandt,
Okay.
maybe.
Issue 21. And then the last issue, issue 22. And the funny thing, well, I could show you, but at the end of this book, see, issue 22 was not intended to be the last issue because it makes a next issue about monsters and so forth. But this was the last issue of the actual run. I believe they ended up publishing the other one later on in like a 3D annual or something. All I need to get all the Now Comics runs is there's some 3D issues I need, and I needed the Fright Night 2 comic adaptation that I actually ordered. Now, a few years ago, Tom Holland, not Spider-Man Tom Holland, Tom Holland, the guy that directed the original Fright Night movie, he regained the rights to Fright Night. So he started making his own books, and I was on board for a little bit, but it seemed like they were doing like one issue every year, so I just fell off of it. But I finally went back and ordered a couple issues that I needed, and that's coming in the mail. But we got free comic book day Fright Night for Tom Holland's Fright Night. And if I understand correctly, this takes place after the first movie and ignores the Fright Night 2 movie. We got this Fright Night number 1 for Tom Holland. This is from I don't know the company, American Mythology something. Then I got the same cover in a cool little black and white. Got issue 2. I don't have issue 3, but I got issue 4. And I don't have issue 5. I got, like I said, I got issues 3 and 5, and there's an Evil Ed one shot and Fright Night 2 with the adaptation featuring Regine Dandridge from the 90s movie on the way. So that is all of my spooky books.
Nice.
So I was gonna say E-Man's the only one in the chat right now. So excuse me. So Will, do you like scary movies?
I like some.
You like some? Do you ever think about the soundtracks?
I haven't thought about the soundtracks in a while. I didn't even do my homework on the show. You know more than me.
I think some soundtracks pretty much make the movies. Like I remember watching a documentary where I think they said not James, but John Carpenter had sent the people that were that budgeted the Halloween movie a copy of the movie without the music, and they were bored. They thought it was boring, and then he sent them another copy after they added all the music to it, and it scared the shit out of them. So I mean,
that's great.
E-Man says, "Oh man, this is too much power for one man. You can do it. You can do it. You are the chosen one." E-Man is going to light our darkest hour.
Yep.
But yeah, stuff like that. Most movies, as iconic as the franchises are, some of their music is also catchy. Friday 13th, for example, The Exorcist, Nightmare on Elm Street. There are certain Halloween. There are certain horror movies that when you hear the song, you know exactly where it came from. So I mean, and I'm gonna show off some of my favorite stuff. Oh, he says, I'd say there's a difference between a score and a soundtrack. I do too. I'd even say Rob Zombie's Halloween has a great soundtrack for a movie, but Carpenter can pick someone to do the score well. Exactly. I agree. But let's start off with the CDs. I've got one I'm showing just because there's a song on it. I've got Bruce Dickinson's Tattooed Millionaire. Now, originally, this was Bruce Dickinson's first solo album outside of Iron Maiden. And the original version didn't have the song on it, but this re-release has a song on it called "Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter." Bruce recorded the song, and then Iron Maiden liked it, and then they re-recorded it for the No Prayer for the Dying album. But Bruce's version of "Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter" is on a Nightmare on Elm Street 5 soundtrack. And you can't start talking about spooky season or spooky music without Typo Negative. So I've got Bloody Kisses, one of the versions of Bloody Kisses. This was my introduction to Typo Negative, watching Headbangers Ball in the 90s. And, seeing the video for Black Number One. This was a hell of a band, I'm telling you right now. Rest in peace, Peter Steele. Excuse me. We got October Rust, which is, to me, their probably best album. It's got a lot of good stuff on there. Love You to Death, Be My Druidess, My Girlfriend's Girlfriend, Wolf Moon. We got World Coming Down, and Life Is Killing Me. Now, they've got more albums than the ones I'm showing. Hey, Matt. Hello. I will try to drop by in a few. Typo Negative has a more extensive. They had one album. They got one album called Slow, Deep, and Hard. They got one called The Origin of the Feces. Those. Well, anyway. And they got another one called Dead Again. And then that was pretty much, I think, their discography before Peter Steele passed away. Now, I'm going to show you some vinyl. To me, this is not in the best shape of its life, but I've had this since it came out in the 80s. And this is the original 45 vinyl of Dawkins' Dream Warriors.
Oh, heck yeah.
I've had this since I was a kid. This thing is scratched all to hell. But one of the things I thought was cool was the side B was a song called Back for the Attack. This song was featured on the album Back for the Attack. But the song Back for the Attack is not on the album. It wouldn't be put on there until a re-release years later. Now, next I'm going to show you is a soundtrack that Matt, Heroes for Hire Comics Club, it's either his good cinema or bad cinema. He's going to focus, he's going to spotlight this movie. And it's one of my favorite soundtracks. It's one of my favorite films. And I'm talking about Fastway's Trick or Treat soundtrack. Got a really awesome soundtrack. And the movie featured Tony Fields as Sammy Kerr. I can never think of the kid that played Ragman. He played Skippy on Family Ties. Has cameos of Ozzy and Gene Simmons. Even though they tend to put Ozzy and Gene on the cover like they're in the main movies, they're barely in the movie at all. It's one of those cheesy, underrated horror movies that everybody loves. Well, maybe not everybody, but I do. The last one I'm going to show, this movie celebrated its 50th anniversary just a week or so ago. This is another staple that I watch every year, and I got the red vinyl for this one. This is the soundtrack to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Nice.
And
I forget, is Rocky Horror Picture Show the one with Ballroom Blitz?
No, it's got Time Warp. This red vinyl.
What's the one I'm thinking of that's Ballroom Blitz?
Ballroom Blitz, the version you're thinking of is Wayne's World. It was by Tia. I don't know. Tia Carrere and them did it in the movie. I don't know if they actually did it for the soundtrack. I'd have to look that up. But I know Crocus did it. Crocus did a cover in the 80s, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the original artist was Sweet from the 70s. Yeah. But the original soundtrack to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, because if you love the movie, you got to get the soundtrack. And that is me. That's everything I've got to show off today. And Matt says Docking rules. So, Will, do you want to talk a little bit? A couple hours ago, we was part of a good cinema on Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yep.
So, I know didn't you say you hadn't watched it, or?
I've seen bit. I haven't really watched it, but I know a lot about it.
All right. E-Man says, "Damn it, Vogs! Now I have ballroom blitz in my head."
It's a good
Hey,
song though.
E, it's better than having sweet transvestite stuck in your head.
Yeah.
And if I just did something, you're welcome. But yeah, just tell me what you think before I sound off because,
What about that movie?
yeah, just what's your take on that, or what you know about the novel or whatever. I mean, just
I've
you're
never
oh
really seen it, but I know Gary Oldman is one of my favorite actors. I love Keanu. Winona Ryder's great, and it's a telling of an old tale that's been around for many, many, many years, and I'm definitely gonna have to sit down and watch it sometime.
for me, being a fan of Dracula, I think is an understatement. I don't know what it was. Maybe I guess I saw the '70s Dracula with Jack Palance or something. But something I saw something, and I started liking vampires at 9 years old. I thought I used to. I mean, I dressed up like Dracula, and didn't even know who the character was. He was just a bad guy vampire. That's all I knew. And then when I started hearing about the book at 9 years old, I read Bram Stoker's Dracula for the first time. While most 9 year olds are reading their kiddie books or whatever, I'm reading Stoker.
Yeah.
And it just captivated my 9 year old mind and stuck with me. And now I've probably read it quite a few handful of times. And there's something about the book, whether it was the way they used the way Stoker used the way he did the diary entries to tell the story, whether it was Harker or Mina or Abraham Van Helsing or Seward or you know just to name a few. That story was pretty cool. I know it took him 10 years. He did 10 years research before he did it. I know the Romanians were not very happy that he tied it to Vlad Tepes, the Impaler, because people can think whatever they want to of the real Vlad the Impaler that Dracula is based on, but in Romania, he is a folk hero. He is how we would look at um, George Washington or somebody like that. That's their hero. And I know back when they were filming Subspecies, they were pissed off because they were back down there filming Subspecies in Romania because they were tired of all the tourists coming up wanting to know about Dracula. I
Hmm.
mean, so I doubt in 30 years that's changed. I mean, it's like the real story behind the real man is being crushed. But he did come up with a pretty good. He took some of the lore, added a little bit of his own to it, and I was a big fan of it. I watched Bela Lugosi's Dracula when I was a kid, so to me, that was a high standard. But in 1992, I went and watched this thing in the theater 7 times. The first time I wasn't so sure, but I got so engrossed into it. Like you said, Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves, Anthony Hopkins, Tom Waits. I mean, you're talking about a stacked deck, and there's probably people I'm failing to mention. Carrie Elwes from Princess Bride and the Hand that Rocks the Cradle and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He was
Oh,
in
I
it.
didn't know he was in it. That's funny.
Yeah, Carrie Elwes plays the guy. He plays Arthur Homewood. He plays the guy that Lucy picks to wed. So I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's a good
he's it.
actor.
Yeah, excuse me. Sorry about that. Uh, but yeah, he does real good. But it's got a great cast. Francis Ford Coppola really went into the lore and made just about almost as close to the book as you're going to get. Now, of course, like I said on Matt's show, the intro, the love story, the whole comparing him to his dead wife Elizabeth, That was all for the movie. That wasn't mentioned in the the actual novel. So that was pretty cool. And the man in the back said, "Everyone attack." But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a pretty good movie. Um, even it stuck to the novel all the way up to Dracula's demise, where Jonathan Harker cuts his throat and Quincy stabs him in the heart with his dagger, and then after that, the rest of the ending was pretty much Coppola's as well. But I meant to ask this question during Matt's show, and you're the only one to hear it. So I wonder if Dracula. I know the answer, but was Dracula redeemed?
Oh.
Can a creature like Dracula? Do you? Because I'm going to ask you your honest opinion. Then I'm going to tell you what I found when I looked it up in the novel version and in the novel and the movie. But do you think a character like Dracula could be redeemed?
Not really. He's done a lot of wrong.
Yeah. See, a lot. One big distinguishment is in the movie when it shows him doing the impaling and everything. It said he did it. He did he did it to repel the Ottomans and the Ottomans and the Turks, but he supposedly did it in the name of Christ. And he may have very well done it in real life as the real Vlad the Impaler. But he also had those people, his enemies. Every time the enemies attacked his castle, when he repelled them, he had them staked in front of his castle around the country as a warning to would-be invaders. Like, this is what's going to happen to you if you come to attack me. So I mean,
yeah. So I think he's done more right than wrong. So I don't think you can redeem the guy. Oh no, maybe you could call him an anti-hero. I don't know.
well, according to the novel, what I found about the novel, there's two different things. It says, not a matter of choice. The novel doesn't present a scenario where Dracula works for his own redemption or makes a conscious choice to become good. His redemption is a spiritual outcome of his demise, not a deliberate change of heart. In Bram Stoker's novel, the heroes feel relief at seeking a look of peace on his face after his death, but the novel explicitly states his soul ascended to heaven, achieving spiritual salvation. This happens after his vampiric body is destroyed.
So
And then
maybe
it says,
go ahead.
and in the movie, the Francis Ford Coppola version, it says, this film significantly humanizes Dracula, portraying his story as a tragedy driven by love, loss, and reincarnation. He achieves a romantic, albeit tragic, redemption through his connection with Mina, which some viewers interpret as his soul ascending to heaven alongside her. Because if you think, go ahead.
He could be like I don't know. This may be a weird comparison, but like a Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He's evil in the front, but inside that suit or that costume or that getup, it's just a nice guy, a good guy. He's like Luke says in I think it's episode 6 or 4 or I don't remember which episode. I haven't watched Star Wars in ages. There's still good in him.
Yeah, he starts saying that in 6.
Yeah, in 6. So maybe behind the whole getup of Dracula where he's old and he turns into the mist and he has the cloak and he looks old and he looks wrinkly is a guy who's just like a normal good guy, like how Darth Vader under the whole cloak thing is still Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna make a comment about the movie. I'm just using the movie part. And yeah, I know you only watched bits and pieces, so I am going to spoil some for if you haven't seen, since you hadn't seen
Perfectly fine.
Of course, in the intro, when he finds his wife dead, he renounces God. He stabs the cross and it starts bleeding. He drinks the blood because he says, "The blood is the life, and I want it all," or something to that effect. He drinks the blood, and that's how he becomes cursed. He views it as a curse. I think at the time he was so full of anger and grief and of loss and stuff that he wasn't thinking straight. And
No.
in spiritual terms, I guess you could say that God saw that he was being blasphemous, but it was out of grief, not not. It's not like when Lucifer fell. It didn't come from greed. It came from loss and heartache. And then later on, because when the part where he's going to turn her, but he's like, no, I cannot curse you to this. I don't want to. He didn't want to curse her, even though she was asking for it. Mina was. But at the end, at the very end, when she finally, Quincy thrust a sword in his chest, but it didn't go all the way through. He's dying, but he's not there yet. They go into the same chapel where he renounced God. They talk a little bit. He looks up. She plunges. He says, "Give me peace." She plunges it all the way through him. You see a light shine on his face, and his face turns back to the way he was when he was young. He looks up. The cross heals where he struck it. It heals, and above the roof, you see it was darkened. It's been darkened since he turned evil, but you see an enlightened silhouette of him and Elizabeth. It just starts glowing. So to me, that kind of gave me the idea that he probably did. He was redeemed, and he was reunited
Just
with.
like Darth Vader at the end of Star Wars, where he's like, go without me, son, blah blah blah, and
Yeah,
how he throws Emperor over the balcony and gets him electrocuted.
yeah, because in the novel version, when he goes after Mina, it's because she's so pure and just and everything that he just wants to corrupt her. That's it. There's no there's no reincarnation. There's no Elizabeth or nothing. He sees a infinite pure soul that he wants to corrupt.
Yeah, so Dracula and Vader, in my eyes, are kindred.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I've loved this movie. It's one of my favorite movies. I always start my Halloween. I always start my Halloween. I do. I try to do 31 days of Halloween. I don't know if I'm gonna get one done tonight, where I watch a horror movie every night. At one point in time, dude, I was doing so many. I think one year I did 64 movies in 31 days.
That's crazy awesome.
But but yeah, I always go back and watch the classics first. And of course, the first one I watched was Bela Lugosi. Um, Most of the Lugosi film is it mostly just takes place. You got you don't really meet Harker until they get to England. Renfield is the solicitor. Of course, and he goes mad just like he did in the Bram Stoker's one. He's still wanting flies and everything. He is played by Dwight Fry in the original 31, and like I told Matt, to me, he is the epitome of madness in the 31 version. He's got that sinister he. There's a scene where a nurse comes in where they found Mina out on the lawn and she thinks he's dead. So Harker and Van Helsing and Mina's, I think it's her father. Hell, I don't know. They all run out the door and leaves Renfield with this nurse. He just keeps looking at her with this maddening look, going he. And she does it so much, the nurse faints. And then he starts to try to walk up like he's going to bite her, and then somebody stops him. But
Yeah.
but yeah, even in the 31 version, he's doing the whole the master has promised me immortality, and just like in the other one, he gets killed by Dracula because Dracula thinks he betrayed him. But Dwight Fry was a really good actor when it come to playing deranged characters. I mean,
Yeah, there's so many iconic horror movies out there. There's like Cloverfield. I don't know. Would you call Cloverfield horror?
yeah, yeah. I've never watched it, but yeah, I would. They got it
Uh,
listed as horror.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, that's a mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shining. You got so many. Friday the
Oh yeah.
13th.
Yeah.
Jason, Freddy, Chucky, Saw, It. I hate clowns. I will never watch it.
To me, don't get me wrong. I love the remake that they did. I've never watched chapter 2 of the remake. I've watched chapter 1. I like Bill Skarsgård. I thought he did pretty good, but my mind is always stuck on Tim Curry's television, the television version of it that had Tim Curry as Pennywise. It had John Ritter. It had Harry Anderson, the guy that played the judge in Night Court. It had, I can't think of her name, but the lady that played Beverly was in Superman 3 and Smallville. Um, just Tim Reed was in it. I mean, it was just a really great rounded out cast for that one. And hey, Manny. But yeah, I mean, I like the newer one is supposed to be more faithful to the novel.
Do you watch Stranger Things? I don't.
I didn't watch it. I don't have Netflix.
I heard Stranger Things is great.
I heard it was really good. The only clip of Stranger Things I ever seen was the dude sitting on top of the building playing master puppets. That was the only clip I seen throughout the whole show. But
I like Supernatural. That's a show I like.
I love, dude. Okay, so when the show come on, my niece and my daughter, which 2005, my niece was probably 16, 17. My daughter was 12, but they were in love with the Winchesters. They thought they were so hot, and I used to give them hell because that was the only reason they watched the show, because they thought Jared and they thought Jensen were hot. But as the show progressed, Kara stayed with it because she liked the show. About the 13th season, I started going back and watching. I binge watched 13 seasons of Supernatural in one summer.
And they're releasing a comic book soon.
Yeah, I've been on the fence about whether or not I'm going to add it. I need to get off my ass since this week is FOC.
Matt, we showed some horror books. You have any on you?
Yeah. Any horror books?
Horror, not horror.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Horror books. I'm from Kentucky. That's how we talk. Sorry. Yeah, I got books. I don't have any.
So Matt, Tony asked me a question. Tony, ask him the question you asked me, and then I'll summarize what I said before Matt goes.
You talking about Dracula? Mm-hmm. Okay, Matt, I meant to ask this question during your stream, and I didn't. Do you think he was redeemed?
So what I said, Matt, is he's like Darth Vader. He's a guy, and then behind the whole getup is just a normal guy. He's just been through hell and back. He's like Darth Vader. Under Darth Vader, he's Anakin still. They're still good in it. But go ahead. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I think the way they did it is she cuts his head off and the light kind of shines over. I think he was at peace he'd made his peace with God, but he did a lot of horrible things. I don't know. He seemed to take pleasure in all the things he did. Let's be honest, though.
That's what Tony said exactly.
I was pointing out, like, because where he stabbed the cross and it bled. Well, when he died, when she plunged the dagger, there was a light shine on his face. You see his old self. You see the cross heal where he struck it. It healed. You see the silhouette of him and Elizabeth on the ceiling light up. And I'd read this earlier, but according to the novel, and according to the original novel, they make a comment that he did ascend to heaven.
Okay. Well, yeah, he'd made he's there because where Van Helsing says your war with God is over.
Yeah.
When he's in there, and they catch him in there with Mina.
Yeah.
I think he was though. I think it was like because it says in the tagline for the movie is "True love conquers all."
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. I'm sorry. We were talking
that's fine.
Some crazy shit.
I made another reference to where when he first turned, I was like, this isn't like when Lucifer tried to rebel and was thrown out of heaven, because Lucifer did out of jealousy and spite. I was like, Dracula, when he struck that cross and renounced God, it was out of anger and loss. He had just lost his whole life. His whole world had just died. So he was striking more out of loss than anything.
Yeah.
Because, if you lose somebody that is so close to you that I mean, I really can't express it too much. There's a grief that is beyond measure. You know,
Oh,
you
Yeah.
see like you see couples that have been married for 70 years, and when one of them passes away, it ain't too long after that the other one does too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was gonna say I remember when my grandpa passed away in '95. Everybody looked at grandma. She said, "Oh, don't worry." She said, "I still got a few more years left in me," and she lasted till '99. She lasted 4 years after he died
Wow.
before she finally passed away.
Yeah. My grandpa, when my grandmother died, he lasted probably 8, 10 years
Wow.
after that. But then again, sometimes like my grandma on my dad's side, she just like kind of after Papa died, she kind of, I don't know, kind of feel like she lost the will to live.
Yeah,
Uh,
I always think both of my grandmothers were such spitfires. That's like it was like death came up and said, "Hey, you can go up to heaven now if you want to." It's kind of like they were asking. He was asking if it was okay because he's probably afraid he was going to get. It's like that old Chuck Norris joke where it says, "Chuck Norris died 20 years ago. Death's just afraid to tell him."
yeah.
I think
He
he
just,
is.
did you
Seriously.
see like he just like recently hiked like this big mountain trail, him and his age.
Oh yeah, he's in his 80s hiking mountains. Yeah,
But he probably is one of them guys like he's an athlete, so he's probably stayed in great shape, worked out, and probably ate right. You know, I don't know if well, we're lucky. I'll be lucky if I live that long. You know, I don't know. Some people are just tough. Like my stepdad, he got diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and then like he lived 15, 20 more years. Like, I mean, he's taking the treatment, but he lived to be 81,
yeah.
and to have cancer that bad and have to do all them treatments to live to 81 is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know who I wish could have lived longer if there was medicine was Lou Gehrig. He could have probably lived at least 10 more years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he that Lou Gehrig disease is.
It's a menace.
Well, Matt, what
But-
do you think about? Oh, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, it's sad because my dad's sister, who's like 5+ years older than she just got diagnosed with dementia like a year ago. My
Dementia's
dad's
nothing
only
to play with.
no, my dad's like 64.
We have that in both sides of my family. Is I've had a family member in both. Well, I think I have two on one side of my family that they were full blown dementia, or one of them was about there, almost there.
Well, there was my stepdad's sister's husband got it, was diagnosed with it, and she walked in on him one time. And he was looking at the clock crying, and she said, "What are you crying about?" And he said, "I'm looking at all those numbers, and I don't know what they mean."
Oh God, yeah.
Oh wow.
Read a lot, and he couldn't read anymore. And he took a walk one day, and she knew what he was going to do. She said, "Don't do it." He said, "Oh, I'm just going for a walk." He went on the park bench with his gun. I'll let you infer what else happened there. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
it. Couldn't live like that no more, you know. And it would be scary. My cousin, her dad, he was only my dad through marriage. My uncle through marriage. I wasn't really blood related to him, but his name was Tommy Asher, and he had it, and like he didn't even. She'd go see him, and the problem is if you don't have good insurance, they'll screw you over on that. They can't get them in a good place, and like he was in the place he was in a nursing home, and like they would call her and say, "Well, you can't come today. He was fighting us today. He's being kind of violent because he didn't know who anybody was," and then sometimes he would recognize my cousin Grace, and then sometimes he wouldn't. And it's almost like you don't want to hope nobody dies, but not to be a downer, but you know, sometimes you kind of like wish put them out because it'd be scary to me to be like trapped in your own mind like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. What were you gonna
Yeah.
ask him? I've got to go though. I've got a show to be on.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
Tony.
thanks for hanging out, Vogs.
Yep. See you guys in a bit.
All right. Now, Matt, I'm just going to give your chance to sound off on some of your favorite horror movie soundtracks and stuff because I showed a few CDs and you didn't get to see this last night, but I'll go ahead and show these two again because I showed like my typo negative discography.
Right, I'll tell you mine after you show me the.
This is, I've had this since I was a kid. It's the original 45 for Dream Warriors.
Yes.
And this thing scratched all the hell. And we talked about this. You know, the movie had its 50th anniversary, but if you're going to love the movie, you got to get the soundtrack for the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, absolutely! I like that.
So, and it's a limited or it was a limited edition red vinyl. So
that's pretty awesome.
I'm not gonna go through all the comics I showed because I showed like 20. I showed a lot of comics. I mentioned. I mean, if you watch the replay. I mentioned yours in Mark's deep dive for Monsters 1 through 7, and that last night after your show, before I went to bed, I went and pulled all 7 issues and set them right on my desk and said, "Okay, that's the next thing I'm going to read." So I did that. I showed all 22 issues of the original Now Comics Fright Night run. I showed the few issues of the Tom Holland's Fright Night that they've released the last couple of years. I'm missing. I've got issues 3 and 5 on order with Evil Ed One Shot, and I finally got the comic book adaptation for Fright Night 2 from the 90s from Now Comics.
Okay.
So all I need is like they did like 3 or 4 specials that were 3D, and I got to get those, and then I'll have everything for comic book wise of Fright Night. And it's been a hell of a chore because if you do find them online, some people like to gouge those. My comic shop's got a few of them. I think I ended up getting the last ones I needed from my comic shop because they finally started getting some of them at decent prices.
Well, you don't have to highlight me. I don't have any albums on me. I can just have to just name them.
All right.
Well, I'm going to name some that were just had like bands on it. Personally, I'll name something else. I like the Scream 3 soundtrack album.
Yeah, that's one that had Creed.
Yeah. It had Creed, What If, Wait and Bleed by Slipknot was on it. It had Suffocate by Finger 11, Spiders by System of a Down, Time Bomb by Godsmack, Tyler Song by Cold Chamber. It was a fun one. Stained, Crawl, and then It's Just the End by. So Creed had 2 songs on it. Orgy, Dissension. Also, the Demon Knight soundtrack. It had Pantera, Cemetery Gates on it. And Hey Man, Nice Shot by Filter, a bunch of other good songs. The I Know What You Did Last Summer soundtrack, for some reason, I always liked that soundtrack. And The Faculty. You remember that movie, The Faculty?
I remember The Faculty. I think I used to have the soundtrack for The Faculty.
Yeah, they did Brick in the Wall Part 2 on it. And I like that one. And Disturbing Behavior. They had that one-hit wonder, The Flies, Got You Where I Want You.
Yeah.
On it.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe The Faculty soundtrack had a Creed cover of Alice Cooper's I'm 18.
Yeah. Also, Dream Warriors, that album, and then I'm trying to think of the other one. Alice Cooper, was it Friday 13th Part 6?
Yes. He had 3 songs. He had 3 songs in that movie.
Yeah, I like that. I just like the fact that they have and then Trick or Treat soundtrack. Had some bangers on it. That's probably the best one. That and Demon Knight are my 2 favorite. But then, you got it on vinyl, man. I got to get that. Yeah. I found my record player yesterday, Tony.
This is the original vinyl. It cost me $40 used, but they do have a remastered Trick or Treat soundtrack on 180 gram vinyl. That sounds great, but you're not going to get it for under $50.
Well, maybe one of these days I'll get it. But now I got it. Go. I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
No. I was going to say you're right. I mean, if you hunt long enough, you'll find it.
Also, I forgot honorable mention to the movie we reviewed earlier today, Bram Stoker's Dracula, because I like that Annie Lennox song that's in that movie, and I like the soundtrack. But like if we're talking about like a score, I would top of the list. I'd have to put like The Shining, that ominous music they're playing when he's driving up the Sidewinder to the Sidewinder or whatever they call it, the Sidewinder, and Exorcist. That and of course Halloween. John Carpenter created one of the coolest themes ever with that.
Yeah.
Also the Nightmare on Elm Street score was pretty great. The Thing, I don't know if that counts, but the Thing score is pretty cool. I'm trying to think of some more. There was another one we forgot about The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
That's
even House of a Thousand Corpses had a pretty damn good soundtrack.
Yeah, I love that. They had and it was like a cool mix too. Like on the Devil's Rejects, they like Midnight Rider by the Allman Brothers was on there. A lot of good 70s music. That Freebird was the end scene where they're getting shot. Lords of Salem wasn't a bad soundtrack, but I didn't really care for that movie too much. I didn't really care for his Halloween movies, to be honest with you, but that's just my opinion. There was another one, the soundtrack to The Omen.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary. That's like very I don't know. I mean, I just thought it was cool. But yeah, I guess that's about it. Oh, we forgot about the Lost Boys.
Yeah, the Lost Boys. I mentioned the Lost Boys earlier.
Okay.
Cry Little Sister. The dude with the dude that plays the sax. I can't never think of his name. I Still Believe.
There's been some good soundtracks out there with
I will show you one that I showed before. I've got Bruce Dickinson's first solo album, and this is a re-release because it wasn't originally on his solo album, but it's on this version. But it's got his copy, not Iron Maiden's, but his version of "Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter," which was on Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Oh, cool.
So,
Nightmare on Elm Street 5. I haven't seen that one. I need to rewatch some of those Nightmare on Elm Street. The first ones are great too. Like they had a pretty good cast in that movie. They're like not just like I know it was Johnny Depp's first movie and Heather Langenkamp, but also Bill Saxon was in it. What's his name? John Saxon.
John Saxon was in it.
And he was in Enter the Dragon, I remember. He used to be on the $6 Million Man. He was like the colonel that was a robot or something, right? I
believe so, yeah.
Cyborg or something on that show. But yeah, he was like a character actor from the 70s. And he played Heather Langenkamp's dad. Dad. And of course, you got the great Robert. You know what's funny? Robert Englund was this like classically trained actor who worked on Broadway and stuff. And he becomes like this horror movie legend. And I like how he kind of just went right head first into it. He didn't care. He dove right in, head first right in the water. Also, hey, do you remember the movie Strange World with Dee Snider?
Oh, Dee Snider's Strangeland. Yeah, I got it on DVD.
Strangeland. Yeah, that had a soundtrack that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a story. I got a story on that one. My daughter and my niece hate telling, but by the time that movie come out, they were getting on the internet and going to these chat sites, and they're young. I mean, they were like really young, and telling all these strangers all about them and everything. And I kept trying to warn them, and they wouldn't listen. So I watched the movie. I made my wife watch the movie because I said, look, I got my wife and my mother-in-law's permission. I said, I'm going to make those two sit here and watch this movie. And so they watched the movie, and they went, well, it's just a movie. I said, Kara, Hillary, tell me one part of this movie that couldn't happen in real life. And they were like, I was like, exactly. But the point was made, and they slacked off. So,
all right.
But yeah, I loved Dee Snider Strangeland. I know he tried so hard to do a part 2, but he said if he couldn't ground it in realism, he'd never make it. So I guess he didn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool. Hey, he's actually didn't do too bad in it. Like I thought it was pretty good. For him being the actor in it too, But yeah, there's a lot of you mentioned Fright Night too. That was a good soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Salem's Lot. Videodrome.
Yeah. Friday 13th.
Yeah, the Friday 13th one's just classic. And then like there's another one. It's like they have like I can't remember what part was it. 3 they had that synthesizer, like things like
Yeah, they had 3 had the disco theme.
yeah. You know what's funny about part 3 is there are some comic books in the movie. You know when they're in the country store and the bikers come in there and start bullying them, they show a "Do You Believe in Ghosts" comic and a Master of Kung Fu comic in the background.
Yep, there's a comic.
Right? Yeah. And in the Howling, there's a comic. They have a Eerie magazine or Creepy, or one of them is in the the guy sitting there at the I don't know if it's a security guard or something, and there's like a Creepy magazine sitting there from Warren Publishing, and yeah.
Did you know that in the Lost Boys, the 2 comics that the Frog Brothers give? What was his name? Corey Haim. They give him 2 vampire comics. They're like, he said these will help you survive or something. They were about vampires. You can actually go on eBay and buy replicas of those comics.
Oh, okay.
They're not cheap, but if you really want them, they're available.
Well, they do that with like a lot of those old pre-code horror books. You can get like reprints of them, like Punch number 10, or like the Tales from the Crypt. And I thought about doing that because there's no way in hell I can afford like the original Vault of Horror. Or I sold a lot of them. I had those though. I didn't know if that's how. I didn't know if you know that, but I got started back collecting because my mom had got a bunch of stuff from my uncle through my stepdad, and my stepdad, he was getting older and he had cancer, like I said, and he just didn't have time to try to sell on eBay or do the research. So all this stuff sat in the attic, and he had all this stuff like Weird Book, Von Baudet stuff, and then he had every hardcover box set of EC Comics.
Oh hell!
Every issue, like I'm talking even like Two Fisted Tales, the War Story ones, the Love Story, Ball of Horror. Weird Science, all of them, and I they were hers, so I couldn't keep them. I wanted to keep them all, to be honest with you, but I made a pretty good money, and she helped me, and I helped. She got, I think I got like 40% of the money or something, and she got the 60. And then like some of that stuff I had, like that Pigeons from Hell book was his, and he collected that kind of stuff like Weird War Tales, House of Mystery. He didn't really have many House of Mysteries though, but he had like. You could tell he liked Wallace Wood and Bernie Wrightson and Dave Stevens and people like that.
Yeah.
And some that I regret. I had a Planet Comics number 1 with a Dave Stevens cover, and I sold it for like $150, but I regret selling it. And I had Seduction Innocent number 1, but I got it back, and then I sold it again, and now I'm wanting to get it again. You know how comic book collectors are. We sell and buy stuff and then get it back, and it's crazy. But yeah, all that. And he's actually was a colorist for a company in Dayton, Ohio, and I believe, if I'm not wrong, it was Gladstone, because he had a bunch of like free Gladstone stuff he got from Donald the Duck.
Oh hell!
And Disney, and he was kind of an artist himself, but he liked that stuff like Xenozoic Tales, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Conan the Barbarian. He liked Joe Kubert, guys like that. And it was during the pandemic, and I got back into it, and I said, well, I'm gonna start buying my own stuff now. And I did. I'm just glad that, in a way, like I got rid of it, but it's kind of like letting somebody else enjoy what he had in his collection.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? We couldn't keep it all. I mean, it would have been nice, but it was her decision too. And I said, all right, we'll sell it. But it got me back into collecting, and but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I do not envy the task that my kids have when I pass on to go through my collection. So they're gonna have a task.
My regret though, when I was going through this stuff, I said, man, I wish I'd still been into it when he was alive. Man, we could have talked about it, and it kind of made me sad,
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, I had so much in common with him now. Because there was a time period I was kind of a dark period in my life, and I quit collecting because my collection got stolen, and by a bunch of pillheads. They probably sold it for a bunch of Oxycontin or something. But then I was doing stuff like that, and then I had to go to rehab, so I wasn't really, when you're spending all your money on bad things like that, you don't really think about buying comics or collectibles. So, but now I'm doing good, and that's 10 years ago. So we'll just look back at it through the rearview mirror, I love that kind of stuff, though. I mean, I forgot. He had a big book. It was like a coffee table book, the best of EC Comics, and he opened it up, and I could not believe what I saw. It had Wallace Wood and Bill Gaines' autograph in it.
Oh, hell.
And everybody, it was like everybody that worked at EC, the secretary, the editor, all the artists, it was all signed. I think Mom sold that for like $2,500 or something to somebody in Germany.
Shit.
Yeah. So I should have kept that one. That's my biggest regret.
I don't have anything like that, but
I don't either. I could have been. I wish I still had it. To be honest with you.
I was gonna say my biggest regret in my childhood was when I was a kid. I had an original G1 Optimus Prime that I thought would look really cool if I strapped some cherry bombs to him and lit them.
Oh no!
So yeah. So
I've done stuff like that before. I got a couple stormtroopers that have burnt legs and feet. Because we wanted to put them on a funeral pyre or something. Man. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Takara may have built the original Transformers with metal, but that don't mean they can survive the cherry bomb blast.
Oh heck no!
Vogue says we should do a figure show sometime. Absolutely. I agree, Vogues.
Yeah, well, I'm too lazy to get all my stuff out of the case.
Well, I was gonna say I had to pull all my crap from the wall because I've got all my NECA figures over here in the corner. I got 7 of those, and then
I've decided I'm going to start collecting those every month. I'm going to get one. I can't afford to go out and buy like 5 or 6 a month, but because I went to the store I went to, they had like every Jason Voorhees one you could think of. They had they had the Wolfman and Dracula and Frankenstein.
Those are the ones I want to get. Is the Dracula, the Wolfman, the Frankenstein, the creature. Those are the ones I want.
He had a glow in the dark Frankenstein one for $25. It was on a card, not in the box. You know what I mean? Like the different ones.
Yeah.
But they had an Elvira. They had an Elvira one, which I want.
Yeah.
And so I'm a big Elvira fan. I got Mistress of the Dark #1 somewhere, and I can't find it. And it's not even a bag and board. It got lost in the move. I found it the day we moved. Hadn't seen it in 2 years, Tony. I said, I better take it in the new house. And now it's gone again. I probably won't see it again for another 2 years.
Be like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, eventually I'll find it, but it's lost the time right now, apparently. You know how it is when you move, though. Have you seen the new Magic the Gathering card? They're going to make an Iron Maiden card. No,
I haven't. I've seen on the other show, Lady F was talking about the Lord of the Rings cards, and I've seen some Spider-Man cards, but no, I haven't. I've seen some D&D cards too, but no, I didn't know. I didn't know they were doing Iron Maiden.
It might be that, but it might be digital because they're doing a game now, like a app.
It may be.
It might just be a game or something like a video game. I don't know.
I know Department of Truth's got a lot of variants, and I don't even know what issue number it is. All I know is it's expensive, but they have a Department of Truth homage variant of the Number of the Beast, and I would love to have that damn cover. But yeah, next week I'm going to do a live show on Saturday, since I'll be off at 4 p.m. Central, and I'm going to talk about, and I'm doing it hopefully with the hopes that DVH Dr. Von Hoot shows up, because we're going to be talking about his favorite thing to talk about in October, and that is slasher films. Our favorite slashers. So that'd be pretty cool.
I'll have a few
I may have to. I've got a box in the closet. I may have to dust off my old VHS copies, because I've still got some. Thanks to my buddy Tim, who ran the old Lepanto video store, when they decided to quit running selling movies and just sell furniture. They sold all their VHS copies, and I got all the Freddy, Jason, and Michaels. He put them. No, I didn't get all the. I don't know if I got all the Freddy. Yeah, I know I got all the Jason and all the Michaels that they had put back to the side on VHS. He put them back to the side for me on VHS. He put back all the Bruce Lee movies they had. It's pretty cool. My wife's like, "Why are you buying these? You ain't got a VCR." So
I do got one though. I have a VCR DVD combo. I don't have it hooked up right now, but I do have one.
But I want to say I also got the Freddy's too, but all the way up to when they quit making VHS.
I was going to ask you a question. Have you heard of these blind boxes by NECA? They're making blind boxes now. You can get.
No, I haven't heard of that.
But it's like $200 or $400. I couldn't afford that.
I know. Like, I've got two Michael Myers NECA figures. I got the one from the 2018 Halloween. I've got the one from the 1981 or 82 Halloween 2. Both of those were gifts from my buddy Tim. And I'm pretty sure they've probably got other Michael Myers ones. I know they've got a one for Freddy for Nightmare on Elm Street that actually comes. The accessories is the dogs with the human faces from part 2. I think there's even an Ash figure, a couple of Ash figures from the Evil Dead. But as far as the NECA Jason figures, I need to get. I need the one that you got, the one from the remake. And I don't know if they made one for Jason Goes to Hell. I think they made one for part 8.
Yeah,
there's two.
I think they got one.
There's 2 different versions of the Friday the 13th Part 5 NECA figure. There's one of the imposter Jason, and then there's one that they made of Jason that was the one that Tommy hallucinated.
Oh, okay. Do they have a Jason X one?
I don't know. I don't know if they do or not. Speaking of my buddy Tim, I said his name and he popped up. Hello, fellow comic comrades. Sorry I'm late joining in. Had to run an unexpected errand. Well, Tim, we already talked about the Trick or Treat soundtrack. I done showed it off a couple times. I showed off some of my Typo Negative CDs and Rocky Horror and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, Tim is you did last summer soundtrack. Typo Negative with a cover of Summer Breeze on that.
Yep. I was trying to remember if it was I Know What You Did Last Summer or The Craft, but I knew Typo Negative Summer Breeze was on one of them. Actually, believe it or not, their song Fire and Ice is in the original Mortal Kombat. Yeah. It's either Fire and Ice or Blood and Fire or something like that. Hold on a second.
Oh, there's another. Oh yeah, I wanted to say that Creed did 18 on that soundtrack for
The Faculty.
And then also there's a great Offspring song on that soundtrack called "The Kids Aren't All Right." But another one I wanted to mention was, and I'm going to read the track list off to you, was. Do y'all remember a little handheld movie called The Blair Witch Project?
Yeah, I remember it.
They had a soundtrack, had an enhanced CD, and it was like supposed to be like they found Josh's car, and he had a mixtape in there, and it was all like goth music, and it was called Josh's Blair Witch Mix, and it's got gloomy. Here's the song tracks. They go great. It's got Kingdoms Coming by Bauhaus, Draining Faces by Skinny Puppy, The Order of Death by Public Image Limited, and Gloomy Sunday by Lydia Lunch. And it's a good, and I think Susie and the Banshees is on it. And it's a really fun, like I mean, if you like that kind of like industrial goth stuff,
Yeah.
the track listing also it's got The Creatures, Lawback, The Afghan Wigs, Frontline Assembly, Haunted by Typo Negative, Meat Beat Manifesto, Tones on Tail, and Antonio Cora. I know there's some it might be unknown to some people, but it's actually and it's got like little dialogue from the movie in it, but it kind of sets a gloomy tone. It's like my favorite Halloween soundtrack is to listen to that. Like I used to have it on CD, but I don't anymore. I like to get that again. It's good for like a Halloween party or something.
Yeah. I was going to mention a couple songs. Brother Kane, the band Brother Kane, had a song called In Full Shine On that was on the Halloween 6 soundtrack. And Creed's What's This Life For is on the Halloween H2O soundtrack.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if this Blair Witch mix is on there. Actually, also Blair Witch Project had part 2 had Book of Shadows had Manson on it. I remember.
And I know it's not a horror movie, but if we're going to talk about soundtracks for spooky season, I would be remiss, and Tim would hate me if I didn't say it, to not mention the soundtrack for The Crow.
Oh my God, we forgot about The Crow. It takes place during Halloween. We should have done that movie. Next year we're going to do that movie. Yeah, and he's talking about what we talked about earlier. Yeah, What If on the Scream soundtrack. That Scream 3 soundtrack was amazing. It was like it had a bunch of new upcoming artists at the time on it, like Slipknot and System of a Down, and Finger 11 was on that soundtrack. Yeah, that's a good soundtrack. That's a good soundtrack. We were talking about that earlier. The year it came out. I remember like September, and that's what we listened to for like all of September and October was the Scream 3 soundtrack.
Now I was going to look up the Scream 3 soundtrack just to make sure, because I'm not 100% sure if this is true, but I want to say that Creed helped produce the soundtrack. I might be wrong on that, but it seems like I read somewhere that they did.
Oh. Okay. What If by Creed, Spiders by System of a Down, Suffocate, Finger 11, Wait and Bleed, Automatic by American Peril, Fall by Seven Dust, underrated band by the way, Time Bomb by Godsmack, Tyler Song by Cold Chamber, Static X, So Real, Incubus, Crowded Elevator, The Dope, Debonair, I ain't heard them in a while, Fuel, Sunburn, Power Man 5000, Get On, Get Off, Full Devil Jacket, Want to Be a Martyr, Orgy, Dissension, Stain, Crawl, Year 2000, Click, Click, and Is This the End by Creed.
Yeah, you're right, Tim. David Arquette did make a cameo in the video for What If.
Oh, Dewey.
Oh, Dewey. Yeah, I was looking up the Crow soundtrack because it had Burned by The Cure. It had Golgotha Tenement Blues by Machines of Loving Grace, Big Empty by Stone Temple Pilots, Dead Souls by Nine Inch Nails, Darkness by Rage Against the Machine, Color Me Once by Violent Femmes, Ghost Rider by the Rollins Band, Milk Toast by Helmet, The Badge by Pantera, Slip Slide Melting for Love Not Lisa, After the Flesh by My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, Snake Driver, by the Jesus and Mary Chain, Time Baby 3, re-recording of Time Baby 2 by Medicine, and It Can't Rain All the Time by Jane Saberi.
Here's the we were talking. Know What You Did Last Summer had Hush, which is by Kula Shaker, which is a cover of a Deep Purple song. Summer Breeze by Typo Negative, DUI by Offspring. It's got This Ain't the Summer of Love by L7, Losing It by Soul Asylum, Hey Bulldog by Toe the Wet Sprocket, Southern Culture on the Skids, My Baby's Got the Strangest Ways, Clumsy by Our Lady Peace. I like the soundtrack. It was kind of more like alternative though on that one though. But I like it.
And I was gonna say, I believe It was the second Crow movie, City of Angels, that holded a Fleetwood Mac cover for Gold Dust Woman, I believe. Tim
Yeah.
says some more cool horror soundtracks: Maximum Overdrive, Shocker, and Queen of the Damned. Shocker is a really awesome soundtrack. It's got a lot of the '80s metal stuff. It had oh hell, it had Dangerous Toys doing Demon Bell. Paul Stanley teamed up with Desmond Child to form. I think they formed a group called the Dudes of Wrath. Um, it had a it was the first time you heard Megadeth's cover of No More Mr. Nice Guy. I forgot about Wes Craven's Shocker.
I forgot. This is what that was on the faculty soundtrack. They had the song called. They did a cover of Another Brick in the Wall by a band. It was a super band they come up with called Class of '99 that had Lane Staley, Tom Morello in it, Stephen Hawkins, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But yeah, they did a cover of. So you had Lane Staley sing Another Brick in the Wall. Part 2.
The soundtrack to The Crow 2 was more popular than the movie was.
Yeah, it was. They had Deftones on it. Deftones and Stephen Perkins and Martin Noble with Tom Morello and yeah, that's what I was talking about. And
now, if I'm not
all that stuff, Stabbing Westward, all them guys were on it.
I was gonna say, if I'm not mistaken, I think AC/DC did all the soundtrack for Maximum Overdrive.
Yes, they did. Who Made Who?
Yep. And Queen of the Damned, if I'm not mistaken, most of that soundtrack, if not all of it, was done by Korn.
Also, now the Crow City of Angels soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's got a song by Linda Perry on it, who was the singer for Four Non Blondes. It's called "Knock Me Out," and that song is amazing. So anybody gets it if you've never heard that song, it's also got "Shelf Life" by Seven Mary 3 on it. "In a Lonely Place" by Bush, "Naked Cousin" by PJ Harvey, "Jurassic Tall" by Filter, and "I'm Your Boogeyman" by White Zombie. And Hole sung "Gold Dust Woman," which was a cover of Fleetwood Mac.
Yep. Okay, I was wrong. Korn didn't do all of the album. Like they had Wayne Static from Static X do "Not Meant for Me." This is the Queen of the Damned soundtrack. David Draymond of Disturbed did "Forsaken." Chester Bennington of Linkin Park did "System." Deftones did "Changes" in the House of Flies. Marilyn Manson did "Redeemer." Papa Roach did "Dead Cell." Godhead did "Penetrate." Jay Gordon of Orgy did "Slept So Long." Disturbed did "Down with the Sickness." I forgot that was on there. Static X did "Cold." They made a video for that song. It's a really awesome song.
Hey, Rick.
Earshot did "Headstrong." Dry Cell did "Body Crumbles." Tricky did "Excess" featuring Alanis Morissette, and Kidney Thieves did a song called "Before I'm Dead." How you doing, Rich?
Have you ever heard the soundtrack for the movie Gummo?
Never even heard of the movie Gummo.
Oh man, it's like it had all kinds of like obscure metal on it. I'll show you. Just look up Gummo soundtrack. Like a lot of you don't know, but it was like I think it was produced by Marilyn Manson. It's from like '97.
Wow.
So,
wow.
it's a weird movie.
I've never heard of any of those bands.
I haven't either, but it's a good soundtrack.
The last soundtrack that I was going to bring up, since we were talking about, and it's a pretty damn good soundtrack, was the Freddy versus Jason soundtrack.
Yeah.
Because it had songs from a group called Machado, Killswitch Engage, Spineshank, Hatebreed did Condemned, Slipknot did Snap. It was a '97 demo. Rob Arnold did Army of Me. From Autumn to Ashes did the After Dinner Payback. Power Man 5000 did Bombshell. Seven Dust did Leech. I kept thinking there was a Typo Negative song on here, maybe farther down the list. Georgeson Poe did Welcome to the Strange. Johnston, I'm good. Welgamo did Out of My Way. This soundtrack is freaking huge. Lamb of God did 11th Hour. For some reason, I thought, yeah, we were electrocute, typo negative. But yeah, that was pretty cool. How you doing? How you doing, Rich? Jonathan Davis of Korn wrote all the songs performed by Lestat and Queen of the Damned, and he was Lestat's singing voice in the movie. Yeah, I knew he was the voice for Lestat when he sang in Queen of the Damned. I know that wasn't Stuart Townsend.
No. That was a good movie. I like that movie.
I actually enjoyed Queen of the Damned more than I did. Don't get me wrong. I love Interview with the Vampire. I loved Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in that movie, but Queen of the Damned I thought was a little bit better. I loved the fact that they took elements from the novels, The Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned, and kind of meshed them together. We got to see the late great Aaliyah play. God, what was her name in Queen? What was the name of the? What was her name? I can't even think of the character's name.
I'll look it up.
Hey, Tim, I already showed him. You said Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Oh yeah. Speaking of Freddy, can't forget Dream Warriors by Dawkins. They also let the filmmakers use Into the Fire. There is a version. There is a version of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 where they took the Dawkins song out when she's building the house and put a different song. But there's also a version where they do Dawkins, and her name was
Aaliyah played Queen Akasha.
Queen Akasha. Yeah, Tim just said that too. But Tim, here's a blast from the past for you, brother. My original 45 from the 80s, and you can tell it's all scuffed up. It's all scratched up. Probably doesn't play. Probably skips like a demon. Still got it. But yeah, I loved her in that movie. She did a damn good job playing Akasha.
Yeah, it's a shame. Probably would have been a lot of doors open for her after that movie in Hollywood.
Yeah, and I was really hoping the Vampire Chronicles movies would have continued, because I didn't read all of them in order, but I read Interview with the Vampire, I read The Vampire Lestat, and then I dropped off, and then I picked up Memnoch the Devil, and I was really, really, really wanting to see a movie for Memnoch the Devil.
Yeah,
but I know they were talking about doing a television series. Did they ever do the television series for Interview with the Vampire?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's still on. Or is it still on?
I wasn't sure. I lost touch with it. Yeah, the VHS of Dream Warriors had a generic song in place of Into the Fire. It was back in when Nightmare on Elm Street 3 came to the Blu-ray. Yep. Yeah, because I love... Huh?
Why'd they do that?
Man, there ain't no telling. They may not have... they may not have had the right... I don't know. It may have been a rights issue. That's one of the reasons why it took them so long to re-release Miami Vice on DVD, was because all the music that they played for the show, they had to re-secure some rights for all that music, because at one point in time Miami Vice was going to be called MTV Cops. So I mean, that's interesting. MTV Cops.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? And I'm gonna mention another song. And Tim, tell me in the comments. Motorhead did a song, Hellraiser. It came out the same time that Ozzy released the same song on No More Tears, but Motorhead did a copy of Hellraiser, and it was on one of the Hellraiser movies. I want to say it was 3, but I may be wrong. May have been I don't think it was the first one. And plus, I want to say Lemmy and Ozzy wrote that song together. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I love that video though for Dream Warriors. At the end of it, Freddie wakes up and goes, "Who were those guys?"
Oh yeah, dude, that part I loved in the video how they had Patricia Arquette, they had um they had Patricia Arquette, they had Robert England in the video. I always wanted that freaking guitar that George Lynch had in the video with the skulls.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that song by Ozzy and Lemmy they did a remaster of that where it was like a duet of Ozzy and Lemmy singing it.
yeah, that was for their 30th anniversary.
And the music video is amazing for that. They go up to space and they get their Lemmy's bass back. But
And I told Tim that version you're talking. I like hearing the Motorhead version. I love hearing the Ozzy version separate. But for me, that collaboration you're talking about is the definitive version of that freaking song for me.
They got their voices were good together. It was great. But yeah, that song Dream Wars is so amazing song though to me. Like it's such a catchy song. You know, it kind of sold the movie. It kind of sold you on the movie. Like the video is just like a 3-minute trailer for the movie.
Yeah.
Like, Dream Warrior. Yeah.
Well, Motorhead put out a video for Hellraiser with Lemmy playing poker with Pinhead. Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Points if you no prize points if you know the original name for Pinhead because he's not actually referred to as Pinhead. That was a running joke that started out backstage. You know, when they were filming Hellraiser, they just called him Pinhead as a joke, and then I guess it got loose and everybody started calling him Pinhead. But he actually went by a different name in the novels, the Hellbound Heart and stuff like that. And of course, Tim's going to get it right. The Hell Priest.
I have such sights to show you.
Yeah, because believe it or not, here's the funny thing. When they did the remake of Hellraiser on Amazon, and people were going off because they made Pinhead female. I would read the comments because you could tell who had just watched the movies and never read the book just by the comments.
Yeah.
Because in the and Tim can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he may have read the Hellbound Heart. They never say what sex the Hell Priest is. They said he looked more feminine.
Hey,
if I remember correctly.
Trivia for you. What was Pinhead's name before he became the head Cenobite when he was human?
I couldn't tell you any other time. I could have told you. It wasn't Doug Bradley. That was the actor.
No. Oh, speaking of Doug Bradley, he was on, Tom Segura, the comedian. Him and his wife have a podcast called Your Mom's House. He was on there a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying stuff like, and I remember Clive Barker. Here, I'll give you his name. His real name, his human name was Elliot Spencer.
Okay.
A World War I officer who summoned the Cenobites.
Wow.
But I remember Clive Barker talking about this in an interview too. He said, Pinhead doesn't do one redeemable thing throughout all those movies. He's a horrible, just loves to see people tortured. And he gets so many fan letters from women.
Really?
Yeah, wanting to have his baby.
Well, it's like you said before, we was talking about the odd attraction to women and Dracula, on your show.
Yeah, exactly. It's or the vampires, but they kind of, my problem with like what's happened with vampires lately is they kind of watered it down to the point. Yeah. Then we had Twilight, and they're all the vampires are nice boys. They won't hurt nobody. They just drink the blood of deers and they glow in the light, and they don't have to be out. They don't have to come out at night.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. But the thing is, it is what it is. That those stories, those books, and those movies they were for teenage girls.
Yeah. Even though my wife loved them, my wife still watches those movies and reads those books to this day. But
I still think the girl that wrote the books, the True Blood books about Sookie Stackhouse, are probably better books written, in my opinion.
She likes those too. She's read every one of those.
That show though, did you ever watch True Blood? That's one of my favorite shows.
I watched the first 2 seasons. I never watched the rest of it.
Man, it was good.
One of my favorite pen headlines, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering. Yeah, I was going to mention a few vampire things where, it wasn't until the 1922 movie Nosferatu where vampires died in the sunlight. Because even in the Bram Stoker's Dracula movie, Dracula walked around in the daytime.
Yeah, he could go. He wasn't as strong.
No, he wasn't as strong as he was, but he was more powerful at night. But yeah, he could still walk around in the daytime.
So it really didn't start with Bram Stoker, that lore about the sunlight. Somebody else.
No, it started with Nosferatu, the 1922 Nosferatu.
Okay. Yeah,
which
I
was
like the concept of how you could go. I kind of like that part though, where you could travel. In the day, but being weaker like that, he could show like his younger form. That was, I don't know. I kind of like that part of the movie. And
yeah.
I mean, you know what? Gary Oldman and that with them sunglasses on and that top hat with that suit on, that'd be a hell of a Halloween costume right there.
That was just classy.
Yeah, it's just like, that guy's a pimp. I like this guy. He's got his cane, with cool glasses on.
Now, this is the part where Tim's making me feel old. Yesterday was the 30th anniversary of my favorite vampire movie, Near Dark, starring the late Bill Paxton, and it starred Lance Hendrickson, and I can't ever think of the girl's name because she was in Alien.
I love
Aliens,
that movie.
and
I love that movie, Katana.
Finger licking good.
I'll remember her name. It's we got Jeanette.
She was in. I don't remember. She was in Terminator 2. She's in quite a few Cameron films.
That's Jeanette Goldstein. Jeanette Goldstein also starred Jenny Wright, Adrian Pasner, Joshua Miller, Marshall Leeds, and a bunch of other people I don't know. But anyway, and it's of course Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton. That scene where they go into that biker bar and just rip shit up, man. Oh, yeah. Got another soundtrack, Dusk Till Dawn soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
There's a song by a band called the Blasters on there called Dark Night. I love that song. It's a dark night. They're like a rockabilly kind of group. That Robert Rodriguez was friends with. Also, the Planet Terror soundtrack was pretty cool. They had a Planet Terror and Death Proof had soundtracks for those Grindhouse movies. I love that because you know why I love that when it came out? Because I was always a fan of those old 70s Grindhouse movies. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to do a tribute to that? I said, yeah, sign me up now. I went and watched it. It's like a 4-hour movie. I went and watched it at the theater because they show them back to back. It's almost like 3 hours and something. You get 2 movies for the price of one.
I need to watch them, dude. I've never watched either one of them. I know Death Proof has Kurt Russell in it, and who else was that? What was the girl's name?
I'll look it up.
She was in Charmed. She was dating Marilyn Rose McGowan. That's who it is.
She was in that Planet Terror part. Well, she was at the first of that one too. But it's got Kurt Russell in it, Zoe Bell, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Vanessa Verlito, Rosario Dawson, Rose McGowan, Eli Roth is in it. Eli Roth, he's kind of like got a little part in almost every Tarantino movie.
Tim says, From Dusk Till Dawn had quite a few Stevie Ray Vaughan songs. Coincidentally, today would have been Stevie's 71st birthday.
Huh. But see, Rose McGowan was also in Planet Terror with Freddie Rodriguez, Bruce Willis, Josh Brolin, Michael Biehn, Tom Savini, Danny Trejo. Cheech Marin was in it. Michael Parks. And you might remember Michael Parks. He's the one that was the sheriff in Kill Bill when they found the bride.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, that blonde blank sucker is still alive.
Yeah. I didn't. He was also in, he was in From Dusk Till Dawn He was the cop at the beginning of it that gets shot.
Yep, gets shot. He was always a character actor in the 70s, and he was Michael Park. Well, that's of course, you got Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. They grew up in the 70s, in the early 80s. They always had like what's his name in Jackie Brown? Robert Forster was in Jackie Brown, and Robert Forster was in a lot of 70s movies. He was in a lot of blaxploitation films or exploitation films in the 70s. And he was also in one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time, The Black Hole.
Yeah. That's like having Sonny Chiba and Kill Bill.
Yeah. They always did stuff like that. Like you have the guys, and that's kind of why I like both those directors so much, because and that's why I kind of like Paul Thomas Anderson so much, because he's always like showing respect for the past. That's why he always had like guys like Burt Reynolds in his movie, like in Boogie Nights, and that was perfect. Like to come up with like something about Burt Reynolds wasn't really doing a lot at that time. Yeah. And even though they said Burt Reynolds really didn't like the source material that he was doing, he really didn't understand what they were trying to do. But like, but it got him put back on the map.
Yeah. And we just talking about Robert Rodriguez. Did he make a movie? Did he ever make a movie that Danny Trejo wasn't in?
God, I don't think so. I think he's got Danny in every movie he's ever done.
I've never seen El Mariachi,
no,
but I know Danny.
Yeah, I don't think he was in that.
I know Danny was in Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. He was in the Spy Kids movies, wasn't he? No,
yeah,
he was
in the Spy Kid movies. I think he wasn't in. Now there was one he wasn't in. I know for a fact he was in. Was Sin City.
Okay.
One that they directed with Frank Miller. No, he wasn't in that.
Okay. So there's a couple, but not many.
Not many.
Yeah, because he was the bartender, the titty twister, and From Dusk Till Dawn. Because I love that part where he tells George Clooney, he said, "We got the finest food in Mexico," and he goes, "I kind of doubt that."
Yeah.
And of course, Salma Hayek, the scene where she's pouring alcohol down her leg and into Quentin Tarantino's mouth. The only person that was going to get to do that would be the director or the director's buddy.
You know what? My favorite line in the movie is when she's like, "I'm not going to let you drink human blood. I'm going to let you drink the blood of dogs, and you'll be my footstool." And she says, "Welcome to slavery." And Clooney shoots the chandelier and says, "No thanks, lady. I was already married." And he shoots the chandelier.
Yeah, it was funny as hell. That was messed up.
Yeah.
I always thought when I look back at the trailer for From Dusk Till Dawn, I was like, I always felt like they should have not showed the vampire element. Just don't even mention it in the trailer.
Because I don't remember it. I went in that movie blind. I didn't know what it was about.
No, I knew going into it, it was a vampire flick.
I had no idea. I must not paid attention to it. I just saw Dusk Till Dawn starring Quentin Tarantino and George Clooney. And was like, okay, it's got some weird looking monster thing in the background, but it starts out like a bank robber movie.
Yeah, because I was like, because you think you're just watching a movie about a couple of bank robbers trying to get to Mexico and spend the night at a bar, and then you find out that, and then wait a minute, the damn bar's infested with vampires. What the hell?
Yeah, a great cast too. Got Harvey Keitel in it. It had Fred Williamson, Tom Savini, Juliette Lewis. Yeah, brilliant movie.
What was the name of the guy, the black guy, that said, he was the one that, I was a damn.
Fred Williamson.
Okay, Fred. I was trying to think of his name.
Yeah, he used to play for the Oakland Raiders.
Okay.
And he was on a lot of like the blaxploitation films in the late 70s too. He's good too. I like him. Tom Savini was a sex machine. He had that crotch gun, we call it.
Yeah, he fired it that one time, but I was like, well, I bet the recoil on that thing is.
It hurts your nuts, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Another movie that I did not know what it was about when I watched it, because I went on a date with a girl. She picked it thinking it was a romantic comedy. It was called The Long Kiss Goodnight, starring Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson. And it turns into this adrenaline-fueled, like, crazy action movie. And It's actually one of my favorite movies from back in the 90s.
Yeah. I've only watched it a couple times, but that scene where she's starting to chop stuff and they just keep giving her stuff to chop up.
And there's one part where she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're trying to interrogate her, torture, and they're rolling around that wheel that goes underwater, the mill.
Yeah.
And then she finally comes back up and says, I'm going to kill every one of you. It's like, there she is. Oh, man. I could talk about movies all night.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to end it soon because I got to get up at 4 in the morning.
All right.
I got to work.
I got to rest for a minute anyway. So
you want to, before we go, you want to say what you got coming up?
Oh yeah. Well, we got the horror month. Halloween month. I can't say horror too well, so it seems like I'm saying horror for some reason. Horror. Does that sound? I don't know. Anyway, so Halloween month, we're going to be doing scary movies. We watched. We reviewed Bram Stoker's Dracula today, and then Monday we're going to be reviewing The Howling Part 2. Your Sister's a Werewolf. That'll be at like 7 p.m. Monday, Eastern Time, 6 Central. And Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central, we'll be reviewing the Steven Spielberg-produced Tobe Hooper film, The Poltergeist, starring Craig T. Nelson. And the little lady that says, "Go to the light, Carrie Ann." She always creeped me out, by the way. But yeah, that movie scared me to death as a kid, by the way.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. The oldest sister, man,
there's a lot of tragedy involved in some of the cast of that movie.
Yeah. I was going to say
that was his last movie, I think, and that one he did Part 2. That was his last movie.
You talking about the guy that played the preacher?
Yeah.
I know the Indian died too.
Yeah, well, that might be what I was thinking of. I know he died like right after that movie, and then.
Well, no, the old man might have died too because he had cancer or something. He was dying when they made the movie. So the guy that played Reverend Cain.
Does anybody got the Shudder Network? They have a series called Cursed Films, and they go in depth talking about what happened behind the scenes of that movie.
Well, I was gonna say I'll be able to. I got to work Monday and Thursday. I'll get off at 6, so I'll at least might be able to make the tail end of your Howling one. So that'd be pretty cool. But as far as I'll go ahead.
Katana asked me if Fred Williams was the original Shaft. No, that is Richard Roundtree was Shaft.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. From Dusk Till Dawn has one of my favorite movie lines having to do with the comparison between psychos and vampires. Oh, yeah. Psychos do not explode in the sunlight. I don't care how effing crazy they are.
Oh, yeah. But I love that part where Fred Williams was talking about all the people the Vietnamese thought I was dead, the Viet Cong. He talks about he had to kill every one of them. I was like, that's a wild story. I'm trying to remember what Fred Williamson here. I'll tell you what, his acting career. Here's his filmography. He was in MASH as he was the remember the guy when they brought in the ringer to win the football game in the movie MASH? That's Fred Williamson. He was also in Black Caesar, Hell Up in Harlem, Black Eye, Take a Hard Ride. Some of the ones I can't really tell you the name because they have racial slurs in the name. Inglourious Bastards, the original Inglourious Bastards from 1978. It's also in Delta Force Commando, Taxi Killer. He was in a lot of these kind of movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From Dusk Till Dawn, Original Gangsters, Children of the Corn 4, Fields of Terror. He plays Sheriff Skaggs. No, you get the idea. And he was also on episodes of Starsky and Hutch and stuff like that. Cool.
Tim says, I've been a fan of Long Kiss Goodnight ever since it came out on video. Very underrated action movie. Yep. Now, as far as me, I'll try to, like I said, I've got to work the next 3 days. Excuse me. I'm gonna try to catch because I'll miss your Sunday Super Show extravaganza that's coming up Sunday, and then I'll try to catch the tail end of your Bad Cinema for Monday, and then I'll be back next Saturday night at 4 o'clock Central Time for another episode of Into the Comiverse. Everything that I do is going to be Halloween themed all month long. Some kind of theme. I'm thinking about doing one of. The idea is like the next one for Saturday coming up on the 11th, which is coincidentally the last day you can vote for the finalists of the CBC Awards. That'll be slashers, and then in 2 weeks we'll be back here at the same time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, for another Hanging Out with Grandpa Starscream. I'm going to talk about possession movies, whether it's houses or people or dogs or cats, something that gets possessed. And then
movies like The Conjuring, right? Is what you mean, like Amityville?
Yeah, Conjuring, Amityville. I wouldn't say Cujo because I know my wife told me that in the Cujo novel the bat was possessed that bit him, but in the movie he had rabies. And then the last episode. Okay, now the week of Comics Curing Cancer, I think that'll be my next Saturday show, but I'm not doing anything on the weekend of Comics Curing Cancer because I don't want to take away the attention of what's going on for Comics Curing Cancer. I didn't do nothing the last year or the year before that because I want all the focus to be on all the auctions and stuff going on for that Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Comics Curing Cancer as they try to shatter that $55,000 goal they got going for the American
I didn't
Cancer.
think of that, and I got a show scheduled. I think I need to look into that.
Maybe next year, if I can figure out how to do something, I may do a show where if I can get the time off, where maybe we can get some people and we can give away some stuff for people that donate. I don't know how that would work. I don't know
what I might do. I may not have the Sunday Super Show. I don't know that weekend. I may just do the last movie, the other Halloween movie that on Thursday instead of Friday that time. The scary movie. I don't know which one I'm doing.
Well, I know. I was gonna say I know. What was it? Halloween is on Friday night, right?
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. We'll let y'all know what's going on.
All right.
Till next time, everyone. Be safe. Take care. God bless. We'll see you. I'll see you next week for Into the Comiverse on Saturday, and back here in 2 weeks for another episode of Hanging Out with Grandpa Starscream. Thank you for hanging out with Grandpa Starscream. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Vox. Thank you for everybody in the chat and watching the replay. Thank y'all for supporting the channel, and we're going to see y'all next.
I wonder, will we ever see each other again?
Who knows? God willing, we'll all meet again in Spaceballs 2 to search for more money.